super burn, you get super pump, and you get super DOMs as well. Alright, getting straight into the exercises on this vid, no little intro, sit in the studio. I'll put the exercise names and the tempo down below in the same order as this video. So the first exercise is the TRX Side raises. Now these are awesome. You get super burn, you get super pump, and you get super DOMs as well. Now the key thing is with them though, if you go too far down, you will just hang on the joint. So the tension comes off the middle shoulder muscle, which is what we're trying to train. Similarly, if you go too far up, you can start bringing in some of the upper back muscles. So the key is to kind of keep this pump and action in between those ranges. So you don't want to go too far down, you don't want to go too far up. You want to keep a constant tension on the muscle. And you'll find it, you will find the range. Now, here I believe I'm doing a 4-second down and then a 1 second up, no pauses at either end. And you'll notice there I went to failure. And here straight after I'm just tensing the shoulder muscle, really feeling it work, and then I'm going straight into stretching it for 15 seconds. Why do I do this? I cover that in sort of the previous videos, which I'll also put a link to down below, about why I think stretching is really good to do, sort of intra-stretching. It's something Frank Zane, fantastic bodybuilder, he promoted a lot. And yeah, you'll notice that I'm taking these to failure, and that's just something I'm doing across all my sets at the moment, just 3 sets. And by failure, I mean I'm taking them to so the full range of movement, concentric, which is this. I then take it to just partials to finish off the concentric. I then take it into just holding myself, which is isometric, and then finally into the eccentric, so that's lowering myself. So I push it to failure across all them. So again, I'm continuing the reps here. It'll be 8 reps, and you can see I'm starting to struggle, but I'm still very slow eccentric, a little bit faster on the explode up, and straight back down. Trying to keep a sort of, the best way to set this up is to stand, grab the TRX and hold it above your head, and just make sure that it's kind of directly above you. And that's kind of where I normally use to judge where my feet position should be. And then there you could see I was just taking it to absolute partials, holding, and then at the end very slow eccentric. It doesn't look much, but honestly just these isolate the middle deltoids so much, and you get such a good sort of burn and pump on them. So they're certainly worth incorporating in. Obviously this being a shoulders day, we're going to be working a few different sort of angles to hit the front, the middle and the rear deltoids. And again, just to sort of finish off, this is my last set. I'm just focusing my mind on what it feels like to squeeze the muscle, and I'm really trying to squeeze the middle deltoids. Now we go on to TRX Shoulder Press. Now these are great, and they often get a lot of back chat because people say, but there's no resistance, what are you pushing against? You're just pushing against air. A muscle develops, a muscle doesn't know weight. All it knows is the tension you can place upon it through a range of motion. Now these are fantastic because you can place so much tension on the front of your shoulders. A little bit of middle incorporates too. But what I'm always doing, I'm always pushing out to the side, always. I'm never pushing straight up because again, the tension is then lost, and the holding yourself there is then lost down the into the shoulder joints, which can take a lot of tension away from the muscle we're wanting to train. So here I'm always slightly pushing out, and I'm always slightly pushing down as well, and I'm squeezing non-stop my shoulder muscles as hard as possible. And here I'm going to failure, just doing partials, hold, and then I collapse. They look easy, but they're honestly not. They are super hard. Yes, they're easy if you just stand there and just push up and down. Yes. However, if you contract your shoulder muscles, constantly push out and down while squeezing your shoulder muscles as hard as you can, up and down, they're very hard. Now you'll notice I only did 3/4 of the way up there and not to the top. That's because on this exercise I just want to work the middle and lower range of the muscle, specifically the strength curve, the middle and low range, and that's because Now, on these shoulder pike presses, I want to work the upper range. So you'll see here, I just go down a little bit and I push up, down a little bit and I push up. So here I'm doing 3 seconds down, 1 second up, 3 seconds down, 1 second up. And I'm constantly trying to push my hands together. Pushing the hands together is going to place more emphasis on the front shoulder deltoids. So these two exercises, although they're not paired like a superset, it is one set after another, and 3 sets. Everything I do is always 3 sets. I'm just looking at working different ranges. So the first one, the TRX shoulder presses, I was looking at working the sort of bottom range of the muscle, and then this one I'm looking to work the top range of the muscle. Why? It's just because those exercises suit that better. It's not sort of always possible to work the muscle through its entire range, and sometimes if you try and do that, you often sort of underemphasize every range and you just kind of spread it across. Whereas you can see those pike presses, I can't get my head all the way down to the floor. You know, I can't do a full range of motion because my head hits the floor. So just focusing on just that short upper range and then balancing it with the TRX shoulder presses, which get extremely hard to straighten your arms out. It works really well to do a complete range across for the front shoulder muscle. Now these are TRX Ts. Again, a principle applies here where I am protracting my shoulders, so I'm pushing my shoulders forward, so I'm rounding forward. And now again, I'm keeping within this range of not going too far back or too far forward for the same principle. Too far forward, the joint takes a strain and you're just hanging. Too far back and you're going to retract and let the upper back muscles come in. So the more you protract and just keep focus on pushing your hands to the side of the walls, the more you will then just isolate the middle shoulder, which is what we're trying to isolate here. And you can see here I'm taking it to failure again, so I'm just doing partials, and then I'm just trying to hold and push, and then I collapse. You don't necessarily need to take it to failure. I'll put a video down below talking about different failures and sort of strength ranges. I just feel I am at a stage where, well, not at a stage necessarily, I just at the moment I'm enjoying my program where I do take it to failure. Now, again on this, you saw I just took a quick step back there, and it's because whilst I'm also taking it to failure, I'm also doing a drop set. So the first set was my full proper reps. It was 8 reps, full ranges, and you can see I'm on my second set after that now, so I'm doing another 3 sets drop set, and each time I've stood back just a little bit. So I've stood back even more on this one, and you'll see as I fail on this one, I'll take a couple of steps back again just to make it easier. And it's a great way just to keep, see I just very slightly come back, and look, I'm almost standing up straight there. And doing supersets like this is it's just another great way to incorporate intensity, and it's a great way to, just by taking little steps, add that intensity and keep pushing the muscle, pushing the muscle, pushing the muscle. So the intensity is reduced, sorry, but you're still adding more reps by reducing the intensity that allows you to do that. And of course, here I am again. At the end of every set, I always focus on squeezing the muscle I'm training, and then I always focus on stretching it too. So I'll stretch the left arm and I'll stretch the right arm. So there, the TRX T's there, that was to focus on the middle deltoid. And again, really take notice of what I was saying there about just trying to keep in this range of just pumping, like really pumping the muscle and not letting it rest, not letting other muscles come into play. We just want to focus on isolating the middle deltoid. And again, you'll feel it. You will feel the burn when it's done properly. Now again, we're doing TRX T's here, but if you notice, what I've done is I've just changed my grip. So I've put my hands in a lateral position, so my knuckles are up. The reason I've done this is because it means we can now target the rear deltoid. Now I like to target the rear deltoid in both my back training and a little bit of my shoulder. To me, it's more beneficial to target it in back training, because when you work in your back with rows and face pulls and things, it comes into play a lot. So a lot of upper back muscles will sort of use it as a bit of a secondary. So I find it's a good way to then sort of extend and tire. Exactly the same principle applies here. You can see I was doing my full ranges there. Now I'm starting to fail, so I'm doing partials, trying to hold myself, eccentric, 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 and I'm done. Again, with this one, it's about pushing your hands to the side of the walls. So that's all you've got to picture with your hands are leading and you're pushing to the side of the walls. And with this one again, I wanted to do another drop set. So you saw I just did a quick squeeze there, little rest. And now I've stood back a little bit and I'm going for another 3 sets into a drop set. The rear deltoid muscles are very important to focus on. I would say they're the most important muscle of the shoulders to focus on, because they're mostly always underdeveloped on people, because the front and middle get a hell of a lot of work from a lot of pressing movements. But the rear deltoid only kind of comes into play when you sort of pulling your arms, like retracting behind your back. So they're a hard one to sort of incorporate, but if you can build them, you get a lot of shoulder stability, so it helps prevent injury. And you also get a lot of roundness in the shoulder. When you see someone's really good round shoulders, it's often because they've got a really well developed rear deltoid. So in my opinion, I would really focus, if you feel like they're lacking and you want to improve your posture, I would really focus on rear deltoid exercises. And again here, I'm doing the drop set. You could argue that you shouldn't pause between a drop set. You should carry on straight away. And absolutely, I wouldn't say there's a right or a perfect right or a perfect wrong way to do drop sets. I sometimes just like to take a break, just to reconnect, squeeze the muscle that I've worked, to then go back into it. Because squeezing it is, again, it's tiring it out, and it's also forcing more blood into the muscle that we're working. So it's not exactly giving it a rest. And you can see now I'm really failing. I'll always kind of try and push, I think, middle shoulder, like side raises, T's, stuff like this. I'll kind of always really push them hard and go into drop sets. And just for a final finisher here, I'm just finishing on an isometric movement, where I'm just constantly pushing against the wall, pushing against the wall, pushing against the wall, just to really try and burn those rear deltoids out. And like I say, in this sort of workout, the front and middle deltoids are getting a lot of work, a little bit on the rear, but then I also incorporate them quite a lot on back days, because in my opinion, I like to sort of work them as a back muscle. And again, I'm stretching. 15-second stretch always after every set, just to really stretch them out. And there we go again. I'm just really trying to focus on squeezing the shoulder muscles. Eyes closed, really trying to connect. Throughout all this workout, again, I'm always trying to focus on my breathing as well, nasal breathing. Now sometimes I will throw in what I believe are my weak points at the end of workouts. So my weak points, in my opinion, are my outer quads, my rear deltoids, and my triceps. Basically areas that give a body a lot of shape, and it's something that I'm really trying to work on. So I always try and throw in an extra element on one of those weak points sometimes, just to mix things up. So here, I love these ones. These are the tricep pull downs, extensions, whatever you want to call them, with a band. Key points are, on this, I'm doing a 2-second contraction at the bottom. So I'm holding for 2 seconds. I'm squeezing as hard as I can. I'm then doing a 3-second eccentric. And at the top, see as my arms come up, I'm squeezing my biceps as hard as possible. Why? Because when I squeeze my biceps at the top, it lengthens the tricep muscle even more. Because when an agonist, antagonist, opposing muscles squeeze and contract, one has to lengthen, one has to shorten. So it means we're taking the tricep through an even bigger range of motion, because we're beginning at a stretched point. So I always would recommend, wherever you can, biceps and triceps are a key one. On the very bottom end, so if you're doing bicep curls, at the bottom you would squeeze the triceps, and you'll notice how much the bicep lengthens, and actually how much harder it then is to do the curl, because the range of motion is greater and you're incorporating a greater amount of muscle. So again here, I'm now just squeezing the triceps, a little bit of posing. Not that I can pose, but again, it's all about connecting with the muscle, feeling the muscle work. So that was left and right arm, and really squeezing the bicep, really feeling it working. And then I'll take it into a stretch, so deep stretch behind the head there. And this was my my third set on those pull downs. So this stretch will feel great, because I had such a good pump in the arms. And the final stretch on the other arm, And again, as I say guys, I'll put the stuff below, but majority of this was just 3 sets and 8 reps. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this was useful. Please like and subscribe and check out my TRX programs. All the links are below.